Ready.
Rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next step, I use this drawing gum, liquid Frisket. It comes in Grumbacher also, and it's got color indicator in it, which I stir up a little without making bubbles. And then I wipe this off. I use a brush I'm not real fond of in case it dries up on you or something. Anyway, I use this bar of soap and I lather the brush up on a piece of bar soap. Make sure it's well lathered up, then rake off the excess. Now I'm going to come in and fill in. I'm using this photograph I did 15 or 20 years ago, a photo of a painting I did. And all the white spots in here are going to be put in liquid Frisket. And then I will start doing some painting. So I'll start with the water. These are little spindrift white caps flying off, and I'm using a real spontaneous type. Yeah, that's a good one. And this is the wake, the bow wake of the tug. It's getting kind of choppy up in here. This is called the bone in its nose. Coming downhill here, I'm showing it, the wake spewing out forward of the boat. And I'm using real quick, spontaneous brush strokes and choppy little white cap frills. Before I get over here too far, I want to work on the tug itself so I don't have the palm of my hand sitting in a puddle of paint. Alright, once again I've rinsed my brush. You got to keep up on your brush. If that stuff starts setting up on it, you can just as well throw it away. I've got it lathered up in soap, rake off the excess. Now I'm using a straight edge to fill in this mast here. I normally use a yardstick, but we don't have one on hand. This is going to leave white paper past my gray cloudy sky. That's and like I said, I'll do the boat first so I don't have my palm of my hand sitting in it. Here's your windshield. I'm going around each window frame with masket. Now it's in the shadows from here on over, so I'm not even going to Frisket that in. There's a glare on the woodwork here. Here's the bottom of the window. Now I just fill this in. It'll all show up when I get to the point where I start doing big washes and I erase this stuff or peel it off. I'll show you how I peel it off too. Here's the side of the cabin. I'm just kind of roughing this in. Now these steps, since I'm at it, see I dabbed a little of the excess off to get a sharp point on my brush. I'll do these steps one at a time, going up. And I will put the sunlight going around the bow of the lower cabin in. And I just look around for highlights on the tug. This tire is gleaming in the sun. This one's gleaming in the sun. This guard, pick up. This next guard, pick up. Same thing on this side. Put an edge to the guard, an edge to the rub rail. Kind of fade out because it's going into a dark shadow. And the side of this tire, I'll hit here, this tire here. The running light of the tug, there'll be a red light right there. I'm going to paint that in now. That'll be a red light. Now the side of the rowboat, the lifeboat, I'll hit. And maybe these little blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about it on this. I'm going to move on to the wake of the boat again. These are spindly, windswept. You let the mastic do the work for you, just kind of drag it across dry. and you're starting to see the action of the waves. Now these are just kind of choppy surf. Continuing on, this is a kind of rough seas to it. Here's another little happening. Swish, swish. That's looking good. Now we'll continue on this side. Here's the end of this little chunk. Here's another little swirl and swish. Now, under the tug, there are some reflections of the wheelhouse that I will rake out of this, kind of move forward later. Now you got to stop and rinse your brush off and repeat the soap. Some little choppy waves. Just kind of hit the tops of them. Drawing it on and let the masket do the work for you. And that's about it. I'll rinse my brush, wash it in soap, take my thumbnail and make sure there's no masket left on it. Re-rinse it, and that's it. I'll let that dry.